We are here to talk about euthanasia. We are here to explain why is it so important to make it legal. I want to tell you a real story that happened 3 years ago in Moshav Nir. A 66-year-old doctor decided to help his sick daughter to end her life, to end her suffering. She couldn't bear the pain anymore. She knew that there is no cure for her disease and she just wanted to die in a decent way. Her father knew that nobody else would agree to help her to end her life, so he decided to help her to do it without telling anyone about it. And then he committed suicide. If euthanasia was legal, he wouldn't have to deal with it all by himself and to feel so guilty about it. And perhaps he wouldn't kill himself. So many times we hear about people who decided to end the suffering of their pets by ending their pet's life. And most of us look at it as a very moral thing to do. So why isn't it the right thing for human beings? We should have the freedom to choose when to die. We should have the freedom to choose when to end our life, when to end our suffering. And if we can't choose, if it's only the body that still functions, then our families should be able to choose for us. There is no point of keeping a person alive connected to machines, lying in hospitals for months or for years. Just think about this miserable family who is sitting next to this person each day and every night. The choice should be in our hands and not in the hands of the doctors.
We argue for the legalization of assisted suicide, first because we believe that your life belongs to you and only to you, and you should be free to choose when to end it and how. None of us want to die. We all fear death. We know that it's coming for us and we can do nothing about it. But what if you could? What if you would know for sure that when your time comes, you could end your life on your own terms, quickly and painlessly, surrounded by your family and your loved ones? Wouldn't it actually make you fear dying a little less? And wouldn't it let you to enjoy your life to the fullest without that lingering fear? Our opponents say that euthanasia is immoral. But what is their basis for this claim except some religious dogma? Our doctors take the Hippocratic oath. They swear to do no harm to their patients. But when the patient is facing a fatal disease and left with no hope, isn't making him suffer until his last minutes on this earth actually the most harmful thing you could do? Isn't it actually the least moral option? Take Tony Nicholson, for example. His deadly disease left him paralyzed and in pain, a condition that he described as living nightmare. He begged the British courts to let him end his life twice, and twice he was refused. Left with no options and no hope, Tony turned to his last resort. He starved himself to death. Could you imagine a more horrible, more miserable end? Would you like to find yourselves, God forbid, one day in his shoes? Or would you like to die with some dignity? Would you like to watch your loved ones suffer pointlessly for weeks and months? When you deny the terminal patients the right to end their life on their own terms, you're not only condemning them, you're condemning their loved ones, their family, their doctors, and our society at large. Our opponents also claim that legalizing euthanasia will open the floodgates, that it will be the slippery slope, that we will start killing off patients without their explicit consent and with no good reason. Again, they are dead wrong. Oregon was the first state to legalize euthanasia in 1998. In 2008, 10 years later, a total of 341 patients used that option. That's 341 cases in 10 years. No floodgates, no slippery slope. In the Netherlands, euthanasia was legalized in 2001. Every year, only about 3,000 Dutch patients apply for assisted suicide, and roughly two-thirds of them are refused. Again, no floodgates, no slippery slope. And what about patients getting euthanized without their consent? A study in 2005 showed that it happened only in about 0.4% of the cases. And get this, a study in 1991, a decade before euthanasia was legalized in the Netherlands, showed that it happened in 0.8% of the cases. That's twice as much. Yes, you heard me right. Legalizing and legally controlling euthanasia actually saves patients' lives.
Most of us fear death, but a large part of that fears come from the uncertainty and the worry that it might be preceded by agonizing, like a car wreck. If we knew exactly when we were going to die, and knew for a fact it would be painless, it's a fair bet that fear would simply melt away. By allowing people to choose the how and the when of their death, we guarantee they will live what remaining life they have to the fullest, free from the pain of anxiety. Don't believe me? Well, here's a quote from author Terry Pratchett, saying pretty much the exact same things after being diagnosed with a rare form of Alzheimer's. As I have said, I would like to die peacefully before the disease takes me over, and I hope that will not be for quite some time to come, because if I knew that I could die at any time I wanted, then suddenly every day would be precious as £1,000,000. If I knew that I could die, I would live. My life, my death, my choice. The most popular arguments pro euthanasia are that it doesn't shorten life. It saves life. It makes economy sense. The public support it. It won't target the vulnerable. And the most important thing is the right to die with dignity.